All right. Hi. We're live. I'm Joshua Kemble, and this is my live stream where I work on comics. I'm going to. Oh, I should probably explain who I am. So, I've been a graphic designer and illustrator for over 20 years. I've been an art director for about 7 of those. When I'm not art directing or doing illustration and graphic design, I'm working on graphic novels like Jacob's Apartment or my other graphic novel, Two Stories, which are both available at bookstores everywhere. And I'll play trailers for those and encourage you guys to pick those up if you want to support me. It looks like Benji might be doing his like and subscribe thing, although he does need to get back to doing homework, but he can do it once.
Subscribe to Joshua Kemble and please like the video.
I love that he's
That would really support Josh.
That's awesome. Thank you, Ben. Go do your homework though. It's time to do your homework. He's supposed to be doing homework right now, but that was very sweet of him. I think he got, I don't know. It's kind of neat that he likes doing that. Anyhow, so let's see here. We're going to work on today. Oh yeah. So I was going to say, I encourage you guys to pick up Jacob's Apartment or Two Stories if you want to support what I do, and read some really cool graphic novels. I'm going to be working on Not Death But Love, the strange supernatural story of Elizabeth Barrett Browning. And I think while I work this time, because it's daylight savings time, I might also listen to a video about daylight savings just to see why exactly we have it, because to me it seems like an absurdity. And I might also kind of dig into listening to why we have the Electoral College, because those were like two things I brought up on the last live stream that I was like, I'd probably listen to those while I work. So let's get into the pages. Let's go here. So if I go to my daily stream, and what you'll see, as we always see on the stream, is on the left, you're going to see to the left of me, I guess it would be your right on the screen, you're going to see the page I'm working on, which currently is page 69 for Not Death But Love, the strange supernatural story of Elizabeth Barrett Browning, a historical fiction graphic novel about Elizabeth Barrett Browning and her journey, kind of traveling through worlds of spiritualism and supernaturalism, as well as like seances, and it's full of mystery and intrigue and humor. We're working on page 69 of that, so I want to tone the last panel of this, the panel 6, and then work on flat colors. That's kind of my goal for the day. So we're going to do that a little bit, and possibly listen to something about daylight savings time and possibly something about the Electoral College as we go. So without further ado, we'll get into it, I think. Okay. Let's get into some working. And while we work, maybe we can check out this thing on daylight savings time. This is by a YouTube channel called CGP Gray. So yeah, and I'm gonna kind of listen to it and comment on it, and maybe we'll learn something about why exactly we have it. Maybe they can change my mind. I don't know if they're going to be pro or anti daylight savings time. I tend to be very against it, because I feel like I lost an hour today. All right. So we're going to work on some comics, and we'll get that little daylight savings time thing playing. And here we go.
Every year, some countries move their clocks forward in the spring, only to move them back in the autumn. To the vast majority of the world who doesn't participate in this odd clock fiddling, it seems a baffling thing to do. So what's the reason behind it?
Yeah.
The original idea, proposed by George Hudson, was to give people more sunlight in the summer.
Wait, you guys, I'm going to pause this. Okay. George Hudson is the inventor of this nonsense that we all had to deal with in the US today. Thanks a lot, George Hudson. Okay, let's continue. But now we know the enemy, the guy who started it all, the guy to blame. All right.
It's important to note that changing a clock doesn't actually make more sunlight. That's not how physics works. But by moving the clocks forward an hour, compared to all other human activity, the sun will seem to both rise and set later. The time when the clocks are moved forward is called daylight saving time, and the rest of the year is called standard time. This switch effectively gives people more time to enjoy the sunshine and nice summer weather after work.
No.
Hudson, in particular, wanted more sunlight so he could spend more time adding to his insect collection. When winter is coming, the clocks move back, presumably because people don't want to go outside anymore.
Wait, let me
But
pause
winter doesn't
this.
have
So daylight savings started so some dude could have more time to tend to his insect collection? I hate it even more now. This is insane. That's chaos. That's chaos, you guys. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, let's continue.
have this effect on everyone. If you live in a tropical place like Hawaii, you really don't have to worry about seasons because they pretty much don't happen. Every day, all year, is sunny and beautiful, so Christmas is just as good of a day to hit the beach as any other. And so, Hawaii is one of 2 states in the Union that ignore daylight saving time.
Good for you,
But the further
Hawaii.
you travel from the equator in either direction, the more the seasons assert themselves and you get colder and darker winters, making summertime much more valuable to the locals. So it's no surprise that the further a country is from the equator, the more likely it uses daylight saving time. Hudson proposed his idea in Wellington in 1895, but it wasn't well received, and it took until 1916 for Germany to be the first country to put it into practice. Though the Uber
Okay, you guys, it was a German thing that Germany first put it into practice? Oh, Germany, why? Why did you start this? Okay, let's continue.
industrious Germans were less concerned with catching butterflies on a fine summer evening than they were with saving coal to feed the war machine. The Germans thought daylight saving time would conserve energy. The reasoning goes that it encourages people to stay out later in the summer and thus use less artificial lighting. This sounds logical, and it may have worked in the more regimented society of 100
yeah, of
years
course
ago,
I won't.
but does it still work in the modern world?
Okay.
It turns out to be a surprisingly difficult question to answer. For example, take mankind's greatest invention, air conditioning, the magic box of cool that makes otherwise uninhabitable sections of the world quite tolerable places to live. But pumping heat out of your house isn't cheap, and turning on one air conditioner is the same as running dozens of tungsten light bulbs. If people get more sunshine, but they don't use it to go outside, then daylight saving time might actually cost electricity, not save it. This is particularly
That was a really good point. Okay, so like, if the whole idea was like conserve some electricity, right? Like, because people won't be using their light as much in the house. Well, I mean, think about the fact that, like, you know, with people running their AC and their heater and stuff like that, it kind of cancels it out. So, but that's an interesting point. I didn't think about energy conservation. I will say, I still don't get it. I still don't get why. I guess maybe because I'm in California and we don't have like massively wild seasons. I mean, we have had a lot of rain lately. It did kind of unusually snow, but I'm still not sold on daylight savings. Let's see if they can continue.
true in a place like Phoenix, where the average summer high is 107 degrees and the record is 122. If you suggest to an Arizonan to change their clocks in the summer to get more sunshine, they laugh in your face. Sun and higher electricity
That's for you,
bills are
Scott
not what they
and
want,
Gary.
which is why Arizona is the second state that never changes their clocks. Another problem with trying to study daylight saving time is rapid changes in technology and electrical use. As technology gets better and better and better, more electricity is dedicated to things that aren't light bulbs, and the lure of a hot, sweaty, mosquito-filled day outside is less appealing than technological entertainment and climate-controlled comfort inside. Also, the horrifically energy-inefficient tungsten light bulbs that have remained unchanged for a century are giving way to CFLs and LEDs, greatly reducing the amount of energy required to light a room. So, even assuming that daylight saving time is effective, it's probably less effective with every passing year. The bottom line is, while some studies say daylight saving time costs more electricity and others say it saves electricity, the one thing they agree on is the effect size. Not 20% or 10%, but 1% or less, which, in the United States, works out to be about $4 per household. $4 saved or spent on electricity over an entire year is not really a huge deal either way. So the question now becomes, is the hassle of switching clocks twice a year worth it? The most obvious trouble comes from sleep deprivation, an already too common affliction in the Western world that daylight saving time makes measurably worse. With time tracking software, we can actually see that people are less
Word. All right, let's highlight this fact, okay? Sleep dep. Okay? We're losing an hour of sleep every year, okay? Like, to what? Save a dollar or two in electricity on light bulbs, even though, at least for graphic designers and illustrators, like, we're not going out a lot. We're not going outside a lot. Again, I'm really not a fan of daylight savings. Let's continue.
productive the week after the clock changes. This comes with huge associated costs. To make things worse, most countries take away that hour of sleep on a Monday morning. Sleep deprivation can lead to heart attacks and suicides, and the daylight saving time Monday has a higher than normal spike in both. Other troubles come from scheduling meetings across time zones. Let's say you're trying to plan a three-way conference between New York, London, and Sydney. Not an easy thing to do under the best of circumstances, but made extra difficult when they don't agree on when daylight saving time should start and end. In the spring, Sydney is 11 hours ahead of London and New York is 5 hours behind. But then New York is the first to enter daylight saving time and moves its clock forward an hour. 2 weeks later, London does the same. In one more week, Sydney, being on the opposite side of the world, leaves daylight saving time and moves its clock back an hour. So in the space of 3 weeks, New York is 5 hours behind London, then 4 hours, then 5 again. And Sydney is either 11, 10, or 9 hours from London, and 16, 15, or 14 hours from New York. And this whole crazy thing happens again in reverse 6 months later. Back in the Dark Ages, this might not have mattered so much, but in the modern interconnected world, planning international meetings happens thousands and thousands of times daily. Shifting and inconsistent time zones isn't doing netizens any favors. And countries aren't even consistent about daylight saving time within their own borders. Brazil has daylight saving time, but only if you live in the south. Canada has it too, but not Saskatchewan. Most of Oz does daylight saving time, but not Western Australia, the Northern Territory, or Queensland. And of course, the United States does have daylight saving time unless you live in Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, American Samoa, Guam, the Northern Mariana Islands, or, as mentioned before, Hawaii and Arizona. But Arizona isn't even consistent within itself. While Arizona ignores daylight saving time, the Navajo Nation inside of Arizona follows it. Inside of the Navajo Nation is the Hopi Reservation, which, like Arizona, ignores daylight saving time. Going deeper, inside of the Hopi Reservation is another part of the Navajo Nation, which does follow daylight saving time. And finally, there's also a part of the Hopi Reservation elsewhere in the Navajo Nation, which doesn't. So, driving across this 100-mile stretch would technically necessitate 7 clock changes, which is insane. While this is an unusual local oddity, here's a map showing the different daylight saving and time zone rules in all their complicated glory. It's a huge mess and constantly needs updating as countries change their laws, which is why it shouldn't be surprising that even our digital gadgets can't keep the time straight occasionally. So to review, daylight saving time gives more sunlight in the summer after work, which, depending on where you live, might be an advantage or not, and it may or may not save electricity. But one thing is sure, it's guaranteed to make something that should be simple, keeping track of time, quite complicated. Which is why, when it comes time to change the clocks, there's always a debate about whether or not we should.
All right, guys, that was well done. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty, I remain extremely convinced that daylight savings time is not a good idea. We need to get rid of it. So that's interesting. Here's the thing that was fun about that video. I did not know that, I've already forgotten the guy's name because I'm terrible with names, but I didn't know that it was like some kind of strange gentleman who wanted to collect butterflies, that's the reason. So if anyone asks me, why do we have to change time? There's a strange man who wanted more time during his day after work to collect butterflies. That's why we have to lose and gain an hour every single year. It's very strange. I think we should all protest daylight saving time. I'm not a big fan. Just doesn't make sense in our modern world. Anyhow, we're getting comics done though, guys. So anyhow, that was an interesting little educational section and moment. Did we learn something? I feel like, again, just the fact that it's some dude's butterfly collection, that was enlightening to me. I do envy my brothers in Arizona. I got friends in Arizona, really good friends in Arizona, and they don't have to deal with this nonsense. It also makes art casters a little hard, right? Because we do it at 9 p.m. Pacific, particularly because I have to kind of do it when I'm able to, like when Ben's asleep, and we don't have other stuff we got to do. And that gets really confusing for us scheduling wise, right? Because now Scott and, mainly Scott, has to kind of deal with our weird time changing areas and kind of navigating around the time we usually do it. So it's like either going to be an hour earlier or an hour later every half a year, which is really hard for scheduling like across states. And as that video pointed out, it's hard for scheduling across countries, So interesting stuff we learned today about daylight savings time, guys. Let me know if you guys disagree or agree with daylight savings. As artists, do you feel like you benefit from it if you're in an area that does it? I don't get it personally. But I do like that we're a little further along in coloring this. So let's see. I was also thinking we'll kind of check on something about something else. So I'm still unconvinced. I mean, that video seemed to kind of take my side on it. But let's look at why do we have an electoral college? I know I've looked into this before, but okay, this is going to be a TED Ed. There's a slight commercial beforehand, but we're going to do a TED Ed. All right, here we go. And we're just going to work on comics whilst we listen to this business. We'll make it a little smaller. Okay, TED Ed.
Wells Fargo Active Cash Card. You earn 2% cash back on what you want.
Let's skip this ad
like for
after.
state plans. And need.
No. Just my shoe.
Like maybe shoes without laces. The Wells Fargo Active Cash Card.
Nice. We
That's
just
real
learned
life
about
ready.
Wells Fargo. They just got a free ad in there. All right, TED Ed, explain to us the Electoral College. Because I don't get it. I don't like it.
Most people have heard of the Electoral College during presidential election years.
That's right.
But what exactly is the Electoral College?
Stupid. That's what it
Simply
is.
said, it is a group of people appointed by each state who formally elect the president and vice president of the United States.
Why?
To understand how this process began and how it continues today, we can look at the Constitution of the United States. Article 2, Section 1, Clause 2 of the Constitution.
Okay.
It specifies how many electors each state is entitled to have. Since 1964, there have been 538 electors in each presidential election. How did they decide on the number 538? Well, the number of electors is equal to the total voting membership of the United States Congress, 435 representatives plus 100 senators and 3 electors from the District of Columbia. Essentially, the Democratic candidate and Republican candidate are each trying to add up the electors in every state so that they surpass 270 electoral votes, or just over half of 538 votes, and win the presidency. So how do states even get electoral votes? Each state receives a particular number of electors based on population size. The census is conducted every 10 years, so every time the census happens, states might gain or lose a few electoral votes. Let's say you're a voter in California, a state with 55 electoral votes. If your candidate wins in California,
Hold on a
they
sec.
get all 55.
Let's throw this out there. I just want to give props to my beautiful state of California. 55 electors. Just throwing that out there. That's pretty rad. Well done, California. However, here's the thing. They just pointed out that, like, okay, if those 55 electors are there, those 55 are going to go direct, and basically they will vote for whoever won. But I don't know if they're going to get into the specifics of the freedom that those 55 have to not vote for whoever won. And that's the part that I don't particularly like about the Electoral College. Like, I think that's weird. If we have electors and they have to go and vote for whoever won the state, then they should technically have to go and vote for whoever won the state. Now, here's another thing I think is weird about the electors. If we're going to have an elector system, for like the reasons that Dee Dee was mentioning about kind of states being more represented, because you're right. If there weren't electors and it was just pure democracy, then it would just be all up to the giant cities and states to decide elections, and small states would be kind of like inconsequential. Which again, like, especially when it comes to, things that are like going to impact small states and not have a big impact on big states, that could be a problem, right? I can definitely see that argument. But then, like, why why are they able to deviate from what the state voted? That's one. And then number two, why do they have to round it all up to who won? Why can't they have the electors have to vote for the percentage of vote that went in? Anyhow, maybe they'll get into that in the video, but those are my questions. Like, for instance, if California was won like 60% for a certain candidate and like 40% for another candidate, shouldn't 60% of our electors have to vote for one candidate and 40% have to vote for the other? Again, like, it seems like that would be more representative of the people, but I don't know. Let's see where it goes.
5 of the state's electoral votes. If your candidate loses, they get none. This is why many presidential candidates want to win states like Texas, Florida, and New York. If you currently add up the electoral votes of those 3 states, you would have 96 electoral votes. Even if a candidate won North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, Wyoming, Vermont, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and West Virginia, they would only gain 31 electoral votes total from those 8 states. Here's where it can get a little tricky. On a rare occasion, like in the year 2000, someone can win the popular vote but fail to gain 270 electoral votes. This means that the winner may have won and collected their electoral votes by small margins, winning just enough states with just enough electoral votes, but the losing candidate may have captured large voter margins in the remaining states. If this is the case, the very large margins secured by the losing candidate in the other states would add up to over 50% of the ballots cast nationally. Therefore, the losing candidate may have gained more than 50% of the ballots cast by voters, but failed to gain 270 of the electoral votes. Some critics of the Electoral College argue the system gives an unfair advantage to states with large numbers of electoral votes. Think of it this way. It is possible for a candidate to not get a single person's vote, not one vote, in 39 states or the District of Columbia, yet be elected president by winning the popular vote in just 11 of these 12 states: California, New York, Texas, Florida, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Ohio, Michigan, New Jersey, North Carolina, Georgia, or Virginia. This is why both parties pay attention to these states. However,
okay, so I want to highlight here that kind of undoes a little bit of what was being said in chat about kind of like California and New York deciding elections. Because of the Electoral College, like, it actually does kind of highlight the differences to the point where only specific states, like they just listed, are going to be like fundamental to winning an election. So you can actually not win the majority of people and just win those states and you're good to go, which is a little weird, again, because anyhow, still not sold on it. Okay.
Others argue that the Electoral College protects small states such as Rhode Island, Vermont, and New Hampshire, and even geographically large states with small populations like Alaska, Wyoming, and the Dakotas. That's because a candidate can't completely ignore small states, because in a close election, every electoral vote counts. There are certain states that have a long history of voting for a particular party. These are known as safe states. For the past 4 election cycles, in 1996, 2000, 2004, and 2008, Democrats could count on states like Oregon, Maryland, Michigan, and Massachusetts, whereas the Republicans could count on states like Mississippi, Alabama, Kansas, and Idaho. States that are teetering between parties are called swing states. In the past 4 election cycles, Ohio and Florida have been swing states, twice providing electoral votes for a Democratic candidate and twice providing electoral votes for a Republican candidate. Think about it. Do you live in a safe state? If so, is it a Democratic or Republican safe state? Do you live in a swing state? Are your neighboring states swing or safe? Is the population in your state increasing or decreasing? And do not forget, when you're watching the electoral returns on election night every 4 years and the big map of the United States is on the screen, know that the magic number is 270 and start adding.
All right. So again, like, it's interesting. I do kind of understand that. I think in some way it kind of helps. They did say, like, one of the complaints, and this is where I'm kind of for it. It would suck if, like, you're in a state that has a really small population that would get completely steamrolled or ignored because you just don't have the population. But I think like at least could we fix the system to where like the electors like literally can't vote against the people. That I think that would be good, because it's weird when you have like a scenario where the majority of voters voted for something and then the electoral college kind of overturns it. Like, to me, that's kind of weird. Or can we at least fix the rules to where if they don't reach that 270, it's not decided by said electoral college? Or can we make the electors like a little more represented instead, like maybe we elect our electors? That might be good. Because it's pretty like strangely undemocratic. And I the only reason I bring it up is in my lifetime, this wasn't really a huge thing until my lifetime, but in my lifetime there's been 2 times where the vote went one way, like population wise, like for votes, and then the electoral college overturned that and actually elected somebody who hadn't won the majority of votes, which is awfully strange. And it's happened twice. It's not like it's happened just once. It's actually happened twice in my lifetime. So I don't know. I feel like it might be something we want to look at, but whatever. Interesting. We learned a little bit about it. That's not the video I saw a while ago, though. I saw one that was talking about it initially being set up due to like mailing and time. Maybe we can find another video on it. Is this at all interesting to you guys? Let's see here. We are getting some art done, so that's good. Let's see. See if there's other stuff on the electoral college. That was an interesting one, but I'm kind of curious. Let's dig in a little deeper. Nat Geo Explorers. Okay, so this looks like it's National Geographic. Let's see why the Electoral College exists according to National Geographic. And an ad for Apple Music. Okay.
Every 4 years, it happens again. All trying to convince you that one candidate, above all the rest,
I have the experience,
has got the right mix of stuff
join me
to lead America.
This is crazy.
But no matter what name you're bubbling in, you're not actually voting for that person. And that's because of this thing in the US called the Electoral College. And like many things in politics, you either love it or you really hate it.
The Electoral College is the device where each of the states selects a certain number of electors equal to their representation in Congress. If you ask the people involved, did you do a brilliant job in 1787? The designers themselves would say, no, it didn't work. It had to be fixed.
We'll get back to that point in a minute, but here's how it works today.
Citizens of the state, they cast their votes for candidate A, candidate B, candidate C. They're not actually voting directly for the candidates. They're voting for a slate of electors who gather together and cast their state's votes.
Right, but why do we have it at all? Well, if we go back over 200 years, America had 13 states and less than 4 million people. It was way different.
During the Revolutionary War, you had a somewhat informal government. There was no Supreme Court. The presidency, there was none. The Congress, in no uncertain terms, it was dysfunctional. The Articles of Confederation were not functioning particularly well.
Is that bad? Worse.
There was economic problems, possible unrest.
Barely a decade old, America was pretty much a hot mess.
They decided we need to write a brand new constitution from scratch.
But there were a ton of issues, and no one could agree what a new government should even look like.
The election of the president, that was probably the single most difficult issue, whether you should have a committee, maybe 3 or 4 people serving as the chiefs of the executive branch,
or how they'd be chosen. One plan was to let Congress elect the executive branch. Some liked it, others didn't. And one person who didn't, James Wilson. he had an unusual idea of his own. A government led by a single person.
The convention kind of goes silent, and everybody is looking very worried at one another as they say, we just had a revolution to get rid of the king. Isn't that just going to be a monarch under a new name?
Wilson followed that up with an equally unpopular idea. Let the people choose the president by popular vote.
There were numerous objections.
And because national campaigning wasn't really a thing yet, no one was convinced the public would even know who to vote for.
In the 18th century, you had primitive roads, transportation was by horseback, newspapers were primitive. So the question would be, how could somebody in Massachusetts judge a presidential candidate from North Carolina?
And even if they were informed?
Direct popular election, that will just mean the big states are going to elect the president. Others said, let the state legislatures pick the president. Wilson wanted at all costs to keep that selection out of the hands of Congress, out of the hands of the states. He said, okay, if you don't like direct popular election, why don't we do indirect election?
And like that, Wilson's plan, it gained some legs. So after months of arguing, they had a plan for a brand new government and the electoral.
Okay, guys, we're going to be right back. I'm just going to take a very quick break. So we're going to play a trailer for, let's see, we'll play the Wordzoid trailer. It was made by Jim Lujan, who has a show coming up on his YouTube channel at like 6 p.m. And so we'll go ahead and play Wordzoid, and maybe we can figure out this Electoral College thing.
Well, Peter, since I'm such a big music fan, I'm going to have to go with Karen Carpenter. Oh, Stu, I'm sorry. That's the incorrect answer. Trish, what you got for us?
I'm going to go with Kim Gordon.
All right, let's check that answer. Kim Gordon. Do we have a Kim Gordon? Yes, and that means you're our new Wordzoid champion, Trish. Dale, tell Trish what she's won. Trish, you've won a copy of 2 stories, a memoir of faith and mental illness. Handwritten, hand-drawn, and handed to you by artist and writer Joshua Kemble. But wait, that's not all. You've also won a copy of Jacob's Apartment, the story of a doomed romance. What happens when you take Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and put it in a blender with Ghost World? You get Jacob's Apartment, written and illustrated by Joshua Kemble. Trish, thank you for playing Wordzoid.
All right, great job, Trish. I was told I was going to get a lifetime supply of paper towels.
All right. So let's watch a little more of this Electoral College business and see. I like what Dee Dee said. She said, I found that everyone has already made up their political minds and it just turns into arguments. I kind of agree with that. I tend to not do as much like political talk as I used to on the YouTubes, just because it also just makes my life easier. I feel like this kind of transcends like partisan lines, though. It's just kind of an interesting thing about the structure, and so I'm like, I don't know, I want to learn more about it while I work.
College. The Constitution was signed, and everyone went home happy, right? Yeah, wrong.
There's plenty of private correspondence where figures like James Madison, Alexander Hamilton are saying this whole document is a compromise. We don't really like it. It's probably not going to last more than 5 or 10 years. We'll be back at the drawing board pretty soon.
And they were right. The first 2 elections went okay, but some of the early ones were absolute chaos. The Electoral College, it was designed to balance the powers of the government and protect the rights of the people. But there were a lot of holes in it.
They expected the electors to come together and to deliberate among themselves. They were supposed to be exercising independent political judgment. When you got the growth of political parties, very quickly people began to pledge, saying, if you vote for me, I will vote for the Federalist, or I will vote for the Jeffersonian Republican. At that point, they had to go back to the drawing board.
And so that Electoral College, it's been changed. Tweaked.
Okay, that's really interesting. So I guess the initial problem from what they were saying with the Electoral College was that certain electors were kind of like, hey, if you make me an elector, I'm going to vote for your guy, you know? And like, that's a little that's a little sus. So it sounds like they've changed that since, but that's interesting. Like, to me, that's why I like kind of learning about these things, because I'm like, hey, that I didn't actually know that initially the Electoral College had some issues with like some corruption, where they were kind of like, yeah, hey, hook me up with the position to do the electoral thing, and I'm going to vote for your candidate, regardless of what vote comes in. Interesting. All right, let's continue.
Amended, and now most states, they have the winner-take-all system.
Early on, they figured out a winner-take-all system is the one that you want to adopt if you're going to maximize your state's influence. If you split your votes, then people aren't going to pay as much attention to you as if you say, look here's this great big pile of electoral votes. They're all going to go to one candidate or another.
Our founders
That's weird.
couldn't see the future. And today, the Electoral College, yeah, it's still controversial, but there are lessons to be learned from its creation.
History tends to outrun the plans of even the founding generation. What would they think if they came back and they looked at the system today? It's anybody's guess. The only one that I can say with any confidence, that would be James Wilson. He would say, for heaven's sake, you need a system of direct popular election in this country. I was right. The other delegates were wrong.
Okay, and that didn't get like super heavy into it, but that was interesting. So, okay, to me, the winner take all thing doesn't make sense. I know it's weird, like, and maybe somebody can kind of help me with how that how that works. But I'm like, okay, so if it's winner take all, right? Like, let's say it's California. I'm just gonna use California because it's my home state. Diggs BTW7 said, what's up, G? How's it going, Diggs? How you doing? We were just watching some videos on the Electoral College and working on some comic books. What are you up to, Diggs? So yeah, like, I guess the part that I'm still baffled by, I have always been a little confused by this, is like, so they did the winner take all. Okay, I'm just trying to clarify from what we just watched. So it sounds like they did the winner take all strategy to kind of overcome the issue of corruption within the Electoral College, because I guess certain electors were like kind of rigging it, where like they would it sounds like the first two elections where they had the Electoral College before they had that stipulation of winner take all. It sounds like those electors were kind of like, hey, if you put me up there, like, I'm going to just kind of go for your guy, which we can't have. So they definitely needed to solve that issue. Then, like, why does winner take all like solve that issue? Because then that basically mutes the minority within a state. That's interesting. Like, to me, I feel like, isn't there a way, even if they want to have an electoral system, to kind of balance out like the power of each individual state, right? So you don't have like states like, I don't know, good example, like Maine, like a tiny little state that's going to have nothing, right? And Thomas was saying, hey, I thought that was to give the state more power. Well, it kind of can, but you got to question, like, I guess I'm just trying to say, like, it still kind of doesn't make sense to me why the state wouldn't, like why you wouldn't want to represent the population. Why wouldn't you want to represent the population in whole? Like meaning, like, California as an example, 55 electors, that's powerful. But let's say like 20 of those go for one candidate, and like, if we're talking percentage of the state, and then the other like 75% or whatever, I'm really bad at math, but if the other big chunk goes for like a different candidate, why can't you just split the electoral vote to represent the vote of the state? That's really strange. I mean, it sounds like they were saying to give the states more power. I guess kind of makes sense, because like a little state that has one big unified vote, that, let's say I'm a state that only, I don't even know if there is such a state, but let's say I'm a state that only has 2 electors, right? And those 2 electors put in like a split. I'm just thinking out loud here, guys. Having those 2 electors have to vote for the person who won that state gives a bigger punch for like the overall outcome, I guess. I don't know. Once a party gets 51%, they get all the votes, therefore all the power. Agreed, but like it also allows for somebody who didn't win the majority of people to take office. That's the part that's strange to me. Like, yeah, like, why not? I don't know. Maybe I'm biased because I'm from one of the power states, you know? Okay, I want to see another thing on the Electoral College. So that was National Geographic. Okay, let's watch this. This is a video by Policy Ed. Let's see if we can learn more about this nonsense. And by the way, I'm also just kind of creating some background info so that I can work on art. Okay, here we go.
Last 5 presidential elections produced an unusual outcome. The winners of the nationwide popular vote didn't become president because they didn't win the Electoral College. As a result, many people believe we should abolish the Electoral College and elect the president by a simple national majority. But the Electoral College serves a number of important purposes. The Electoral College...
Okay, so this might be a really good video because this is kind of arguing. Thomas Adams said it's not about fairness, it's about power. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that, but again, I don't expect, like, I'm a bit of a capitalist, even though I'm a lefty. And so I tend to think capitalism is a good system. This is my own viewpoint on things. I don't want to see capitalism completely destroyed. I'd like to see more social systems to kind of balance out the negatives of capitalism, because there is a really classic statement about capitalism is the... I can't remember what it is, like how it goes, but it's like something like capitalism is the best bad solution. Like, basically, it's not a great solution, but it's the only solution to kind of have in a sort of more liberalized society. So, like, anyhow, the reason I bring that up is, like, I'm not going to be like full bore like fairness and everything, because like innovation without a little bit of unfairness doesn't tend to happen. There's a lot of good arguments for, like, the market needs to be competitive, and in order for there to be competition, there have to be like losers within a market, like for things to drive innovation, for wages to be driven up, like for a lot of benefits for society, you kind of need a market where people can win and people can lose. But I like the idea of social systems to help people who don't have a chance in the market. Anyhow, that all being said, I'm open to hearing arguments about why the Electoral College is good. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. Okay, here we go.
Requires candidates to broaden their national appeal. Most states allocate all their Electoral College votes to the candidate who wins the most votes in that state. So barely winning a state is worth just as much as winning it by a landslide. This means candidates have an incentive to win as many states as possible and not just run up the totals in states that already lean to their party. Without the Electoral College, they would likely choose more extreme policy positions to further appeal to their base, rather than try to win over moderate and independent voters. Each party already tends to represent the interests of particular states instead of the whole country. Removing the Electoral College would increase this favoritism and increase the polarization that already exists. A direct national vote would also mean that instead of recounts happening at the state level, each and every vote could be challenged and recounted equally. Imagine the chaos of national recounts with legal challenges all over the country, with each candidate suing in districts with judges friendly to their party. Ultimately, if we want to prevent partisanship and political polarization from becoming even worse than it already is, it's critical to preserve the Electoral College.
So that argument was that it'll be harder to tabulate votes, like to deal with like challenges to the votes. I did hear the argument of that's an interesting one. I got to think about that. So this was making the claim that it can also kind of cater to candidates that are appealing to more people instead of just the most extreme viewpoints, because I guess if you kind of just do straight representatives, then people are going to go for majority viewpoints, and they're going to go for the biggest, most extreme chunk of people who are going to drive up that vote. But I don't know if I buy that argument, because I feel like candidates already kind of do that. I don't know. I need to think on that one. But that was an interesting kind of point. Let's see. Thomas was saying, I always thought the winner of the state should get 2 votes from the senators. Then whoever wins the congressional district gets the electoral vote for that district. That's kind of a nice idea. Then again, like giving the Senate power over the executive is a little dangerous. Let's see what else we got here, guys. Okay, let's look at Vox's The Electoral College Explained. And we'll keep working on comics.
Claritin knocks out symptoms from over 200
Apparently,
allergens without knocking you out. Live
it's an ad
Claritin
for
Clear.
Claritin. That's actually what the
You're good to
Electoral
go.
College is.
What the heck, Phil?
If you watch the news during a presidential election, you'll hear a lot of this.
What do the
This is
national
Vox, the
polls look
Electoral
like?
College
Hillary
is
Clinton's national lead? Nationally, Joe Biden is currently ahead.
But these national polls don't actually tell you who's going to win.
Throw the national polls out the window. They don't matter at all. What matters are those swing states.
Ah, yes, the swing states. Most democracies around the world elect their head of state with a popular vote, so whoever gets the most votes wins. But in America, we do it a little differently. The US is the only country that picks its president using something called the Electoral College. It's made up of delegates from each US state. When Americans vote for president, what they're actually voting for is who their state will vote for. This is why, every so often, someone wins the presidency without winning the popular vote. That's happened twice in just the past 20 years. The majority of Americans...
Paul Pate said, I'm painting with actual paint, Josh. That is hardcore. Are you like house painting or painting like painting?
do not like the system and haven't for a long time. Both political parties have made attempts to get rid of it. So why does the US still use the Electoral College? And who actually benefits from it?
Good question.
The Electoral College is based on how people are represented in Congress, where each state has a number of representatives based on its population, and every state also gets 2 senators. So, for example, let's look at Texas, which has a huge population, and Vermont, which has a really small one. Texas has 36 representatives in Congress. Vermont only gets 1. Representatives in both states each represent roughly the same number of people. In the Electoral College, a state gets the same number of delegates as their congressional representatives, plus 2 for each senator. So Texas has 38 electoral votes, Vermont has 3. But this combination makes the number of people each delegate represents way different between states. In Texas, 1 electoral delegate represents 3 times the amount of people as 1 in Vermont. And that makes each individual person's vote in Vermont a lot more influential. The Electoral College creates discrepancies like this all over the country. A voter in Wyoming is worth 3.5 times as much as a voter in California. And the winner of the presidential election is the candidate who gets 270 or more of these Electoral College votes. These are the results of the 2016
Okay.
election by state.
So let's pause this. So, yeah, that to me is kind of an issue, right? Where it's like, is it fair that like somebody for being in a smaller state, and I know Thomas was saying, hey, this isn't about fairness. That's what I was kind of bringing up. I know there's some systems that don't have to be about fairness, but doesn't it seem a little off that like the most powerful states in the country with the biggest populations are actually kneecapped by this? It's interesting. Okay.
You're probably more familiar with this version of it, a map of red states and blue states. But this chart tells a different story. You can see that no state is actually all red or all blue. But almost every state awards its electoral votes the same way. The candidate who gets the most votes in a state gets all its electoral votes. If they win the state by 1%, they win 100% of the electoral votes. In 2016, more than 4 million people voted for Donald Trump in California. In fact, more people voted for him there than in any other state except for 2. But it didn't matter. Hillary Clinton got more votes there, so she got all 55 of its electoral votes. Clinton never even campaigned in California. Polling showed she'd easily win the state. Trump only visited Texas once. He knew he'd basically had that state's electoral votes locked. But they both visited Florida 35 or more times. That's because Florida is usually a swing state. Polls show that the vote there could swing to one party or another nearly every election. Trump only won it in 2016 by 100,000 votes, out of more than 9 million. Swing states have changed over time thanks to shifting demographics and political views. And it's states like these where presidential candidates spend most of their time campaigning. It also means these states have way more influence over the election than these ones. A study found that voters in Michigan had 51 times the amount of influence on the 2016 election as someone from a state like Utah.
Isn't that weird? I don't know. I think that's weird that it kind of favors states that again, it's just like, okay. Anyhow, let's keep going. But it is interesting that it favors states that are undecided. And often smaller because they have bigger electoral representation. It's interesting. Okay, let's keep going.
Voters in states like California or Missouri mattered very little. Swing states are where the election actually takes place. They get the attention and the influence, and they only exist because of the Electoral College. It doesn't seem very fair. But the Electoral College has always shifted power away from some people and towards others. It was how it was designed. Back when there were just a few states, not 50, they had to get all the states to agree on the Constitution. One problem. The northern states, which were largely anti-slavery, wanted only free people to count in the population towards electoral votes, which they had more of. The pro-slavery southern states were worried that they would be constantly outvoted, and wanted enslaved people to count in determining the population. As a compromise, they settled on something called the 3/5 Clause. It established that an enslaved person would only count as 3/5 of a person. In 1800, Pennsylvania and North...
Okay, guys, I'm going to disappear for a second. We are making really good progress on the toning of this page, but there's a lot more to do on comics today. But let's go ahead and play a trailer real quick, and I will be right back. Here's the trailer for Jacob's Apartment.
Speak clearly, it seems that only in dreams can these things we've seen and walk around breathing things.
back to our electoral college and drawing.
Northern state and Virginia, a southern one, had about the same number of free people living there. But Virginia was also home to hundreds of thousands of enslaved people who had no freedom, let alone a vote, and ended up with more votes in the Electoral College than Pennsylvania. That year, those extra electoral votes gave the candidate from Virginia just enough to win. Even
With the Venture X card from Capital
there's
One,
an
you earn
ad,
2
hang
times
on.
miles on every purchase.
The noise canceling. You're being too
I need
loud.
to just upgrade and get YouTube Red at some point.
My lucky number.
Plus, earn 5 times miles on flights and 10 times miles on hotels through Capital One Travel. What's in your wallet?
Even after the U.S. finally abolished slavery and eventually gave Black Americans the right to vote, white Southern leaders found ways to keep them from voting, like with discriminating laws like poll taxes and acts of violence. This meant they continued to have overrepresentation in the Electoral College on behalf of a large population that couldn't vote. The first time Congress attempted to replace the Electoral College with a simple popular vote was back in 1816. But senators from southern states blocked it, saying it would be deeply injurious to them. In 1969, Congress came even closer. Replacing the Electoral College had support in both parties and even passed the House, but it was blocked again by southern senators. A senator from Alabama wrote, "The Electoral College is one of the South's few remaining political safeguards. Let's keep it." Why change a system that historically had and still was benefiting white Southerners? Today, the states that the Electoral College benefits have changed, but it's still making some voters more powerful than others. If we look at the states with a lot of electoral votes for not a lot of people, and the states with a little electoral votes for a lot of people, these states are a lot wider and less diverse than the rest of America. And many of these states are Republican strongholds. These tend to vote Democratic. That's one reason the 2 most recent Republican presidents have won the Electoral College without winning the popular vote. And since it's currently Democrats that are primarily disadvantaged by the Electoral College, they're the ones leading the charge to replace it with a popular vote.
Get rid of the Electoral College and everybody.
But as politics have changed, the people most critical of the Electoral College have too. In the 1948 presidential election, New York ended up being the major swing state. A congressman from Texas said, "I have no objection to the Negro in Harlem voting, but I do resent the fact that his vote is worth 100 times as much as the vote of a white man in Texas." Swing states change. What doesn't is that the Electoral College gives certain people more power to pick the president. And its biggest defenders have always been those who benefit the most from it.
Okay, so I remain kind of mixed on it. I kind of think I'm about 90% certain I agree with Paul Pate on this and think it just doesn't make sense. We need to get rid of it. That's all, it just doesn't make sense. Paul makes a good point. He said people should vote, not land. No legit justification for the Electoral College. Yeah. And I feel like even if you want an electoral system that kind of balances things out, there should be maybe the vote still has to be the percentage that went to each person. That's all I'm saying, Interesting. Well, we've learned a lot about daylight savings time. We learned that it was made by a lunatic who wanted more time in the day. This is my favorite thing we learned today. Daylight savings time was constructed by a guy who wanted to collect bugs. That's fascinating. That little piece of information for those of us who are kind of anti-daylight savings time should come in handy when you talk to your friends. I feel like if there's anything we got out of this stream other than just kind of hanging out and doing art together, it's that that was the reason they wanted more daylight so that they could collect bugs. You guys, this world is insane. Anyhow, we're working on the background here. I'm liking how it's coming out. I want to do color as well on this page. I kind of have to today to be on track. So we'll see how that goes. How's everybody doing? So Paul, what are you painting? You said you were painting, you clarified that you were painting a picture, not painting a wall or something. What are you painting? Yeah, actually, that's a really good point. That's funny too, because Thomas, I was under the false impression that it was set up for farmers. But Thomas said they blamed farmers, but farmers hated it because cows can't read clocks. That's a good point. Like animals don't know that the time changed. Their internal clock saying, "Hey, dude, it's this time. Let's do this." That's a good point. That I guess crops are. I've heard that argument that like the crops, because like if you want workers, I don't know. It had something to do with more like fields, not farmers with animals. But yeah, I don't know. The fact that it was a bug collector, it's like some weird British gentleman who's like, "Look, guys, can we just have the whole world change the time so that I can collect more bugs for my what were those called? Those things that became for my curio collection." That's it. Yeah, it's interesting when you look into like the origins of museums, and this is a total tangent, but what the heck, it's my live stream, so I can tangent away. If you look into like the origins of museums and how museums became kind of an institution, originally they were just kind of like these wealthy people who were just like, making like curio collections, and then like they'd kind of assemble these weird collections of like curiosities and oddities, in their parlor or whatever. But then some of them collected so much, they're like, I kind of need a building to do this in. And I think that's like kind of how the institution of a lot of museums, even a lot of museums like collections, I think come from like weird, wealthy collections that like, some very wealthy person was like, I would like to collect bugs. I'm going to display them in my curio collection, and the whole world should change their time so that I have extra time to collect more bugs when I'm off of work. That is the funniest thing. I like Thomas's statement here. He said, people where I grew up blamed doctors. It was so they could play more golf. That's a good point. It could be golf players. I didn't even think about that, right? If you're a person who plays a lot of golf, daylight savings is a good thing. Have more time to hit the course. But I want like a populist uprising against daylight savings time. That's what I want. That's the political thing I'm going to say today. These fancy, wealthy people and their time changes. Let's take down the proletariat's time to collect bugs. Wouldn't it be hilarious? Okay, this is just a side note, but wouldn't it be hilarious if for some reason I just started getting all politically fired up and just doing endless streams about daylight savings time, and like started like campaigning locally, running for office, and just being like, we need to end the scourge that is daylight savings time. There's all these people bringing up these really divisive issues, and my whole campaign would be just ran on daylight savings time and how it's stupid. Yeah, Paul makes a fair point here. And this is just like, I think in support of my anti-daylight savings time campaign. Paul says, I hate golf. It's antithetical to human decency. And then Thomas was saying, hey, wouldn't that campaign time be cutting into my plans for world domination? 100%. Or would it be playing into my real world plans for world domination? Okay, so we're almost done toning, which is pretty cool, this page. We're getting closer, guys. And I think what I do when I finish toning this page, let's see. I think we run one more little ad, like one little commercial for my books. And then we can go on to color. Oh, I think I need to zoom in more. I'm kind of liking how the skeleton pages are coming out, though. Like, the whole purpose of my layout here is to kind of just highlight the silliness of this scene with a full-size human skeleton. It's just kind of hanging out while they're conversing. So I tried to kind of keep the skeleton in frame in each angle, you know, including the front one. All right. You guys, we finished toning the page. Here's a question for chat. Paul was saying it sounds like the same campaign as the anti-woke campaign. No, because this one's going to be just like if somebody's doing the whole anti-woke thing, I can be like, yeah, I hear what you're saying, blah, blah, blah. But daylight savings time, you guys, that's the real problem. That's the enemy. That's what we need to get rid of. It's the cause of all the ills of our society. It's all daylight savings time. All right. I'm going to put another trailer on, and then we're going to reset. I have a question for the chats. Should I play another round of Risk? Here's the thing. My last few rounds have gone terribly. There have been these newbie players that literally just sent their stacks into mine. And so at this point, because of those games, I am no longer even a master at Risk. It took my point total down to expert. Should I risk it again? And are you guys interested in seeing that game before we get into color? Because I have to color this page, but I could use like a brief reset to kind of set my brain right. Okay, think about that. Let me know in the chats. Or do we just boldly go forward and start coloring? Okay, so I'm going to save this. We're going to put on a trailer and let me know in the chats whether you guys are down. I'll go ahead and stop sharing these extra videos. That was interesting, doing an exploration on the Electoral College and the absurdity of time changes. And now here is a trailer for two stories. Oh wait, no, trailer for a book review of Jacob's Apartment. Here it is.
Hi, my name's Chris and I like comics. I want to talk about this comic for a second here. I just got this in. I ordered it direct from my local comic shop through Diamond Distributing. It's Joshua Kemble's Jacob's Apartment. I really enjoyed this book. There's all kinds of comics out there, let's be honest. There's fun comics, there's superhero comics, there's young adult comics, there's adventure comics for kids. There's so many different things on the planet. But there's also an entire subgenre of alternative books. Real life, real world depictions in comic book form. Situations that happen to each and every one of us. And this is a fine example of that. If you get a chance, order this book from your local comic shop. You won't be disappointed. I can't sing its praises high enough. Okay? Check it out. Jacob's Apartment by Joshua Kemble.
Okay. So risk is it is. We have to get rid of our obnoxious banner that Corey Kerr always teases me about. We're gonna put for banners that. Let me see if I can get that. I thought I just took that off. Hold on. Brand. Let's get rid of this. Aha. There we go. Have a little better visibility. You know what, guys? Thomas Adams was saying it's sacrificing for the greater good would be the campaign against. So let's see if we can regain master's status on my attempts to become. Paul was saying no risk, no art, just politics. I love it. Okay, I'm going to grab a glass of water and we're just going to hope that there's not some idiot who like suicides their whole stack into me on this game. Okay, I'll be right back. So by the way, this stream, I'm going to go, but I'll probably cut the stream in about 2 hours just because of Jim Lujan has his full fungi scream on Jim Lujan's channel, and I encourage you guys to check that out when that is live. So make sure you're subscribed to Jim Lujan as well. All right, world domination time. This is interesting. If there's AI figures, maybe we don't go into this game. This isn't filling up that fast. It's not filling up that fast. Let's see if there's a different game. Hey, that's looking pretty promising. Except there's 2 expert AIs in there. I don't want to play an expert AI game. I want classic fixed. See if that this is at true random. I prefer balanced blitz. Maybe I'm being too picky. Hey, that's looking good, except the AI difficulty being at hard. I think this might be our best bet here. Hopefully there's no weird collaboration or crazy suicidal players. I've run into some bad luck. So, you know, again, like I'll own when I do bad plays, but it's frustrating when it has nothing to do with your playing. And I feel like the last game in particular was kind of like, come on. Well, the last 2 games. We're going to try to avoid Australia at all costs. That's going to be my beginning strategy, and we'll see if this game fills up. Oh, it's taking too long. This needs to be a quick filler game. As this is loading, I'm just going to go ahead and open up the previous page. page 68 so that we are ready to rock color on page 69. That's right. This is not filling up quick. The worst part of risk streams is how long it takes. All right, let's do this. We're going to play this game, and then we're going to get back to coloring comics after this game. And I've already went on a long tangent about why we are superior for using automatic pencil sharpeners in this household. Okay. Okay. We're in pretty good position to start taking... I got to figure out whether I'm going to go Europe or whether I'm going to go North America. I think I go for Europe. Purple is... What is purple doing? Purple is going to move towards Africa. That's a good sign. With purple moving towards Africa, I will move towards Europe. And I think what we want to do is... Oh no! That was bad. I wanted to fortify... But I just lost that 3, which is a bummer. I shouldn't have played that 3. Okay. Blue is potentially going to go for South America. Yeah, blue's kind of setting up a South America play with a long range view towards north. Smart. I don't like that blue left their 4 stack in the way of my 4. White is making a strange play. It looks like they're going to play for North America, but they're not kind of allowing anyone through. Red, I think, is going to go for Australia. Do they move their 7 stack? I don't like that I'm being left in a position where I have to eat a 3, a 4, or a 7. If that's the case, I might have to just break through white or... Huh. Yeah, I don't like that they're leaving their 7 in... Does yellow now contest for Europe? No, yellow does the Australia or die move. Dude, this game in Australia is insane. Like, people cannot... Oh my gosh, it's too funny. This is why it just sucks. Like, this game's insane for Australia. It's so funny. That literally happened to me the last turn. You should have moved your 7 into the 4, man. Oh, now your 7's stuck in my territory, and you're going to get annihilated for Australia. Thomas said very international match. Yeah, this is like a lot of different countries. Feel bad for purple. Purple's trying to close out and do the slow build for Africa. I really want to move my 4 in, but I'm hoping that maybe blue moves their 4 down or white moves their 4 down. If they're inexperienced players, maybe they... I don't know. I guess for this, we're going to do... I want to leave room for like red to kind of move out. I don't think red is a good enough player to move out, though. I would very much have liked blue to move their 4 stack. Yes! Thank you, blue. Now I just need white to not block me. We'll see how good of a player white is. White's kind of playing an interesting game because it seems like they're angling for multiple continents, so there's a good chance they hit my 4 stack. Maybe not. Okay, white's not awful. White is either moving their 6. Yeah, what is red's move now? To contest Asia with me? They're just going to keep that 8 there? That's a bad call. Buddy, I left you clear. There you go. There you go. Thank you. I'm like trying to help out red here so they can both suicide each other for Australia. Go crazy, guys. Man, Australia is not a good... Australia's in contest all the time. It's the worst place to start in this game. Yellow should probably collect a card with their 2, but they're not going to do that. Oh, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad, guys. Australia's just going to zero themselves out. Use your 2. Hit that 1. They're not going to. That's a weird move. Yeah, yellow and red are in dire straits. One of them's going to get a card cash in before the other. Or another player will literally just eat them for cards. But Australia, guys. No Australia, no win, right? Purple's closing Africa. That was a good move. Pretty solid. There's a chance purple actually makes the move for Australia next. I'm just going to be bold here. Oh, wait. Okay, this is perfect. And then we're going to move our 4. Let's get our 4 to go over to here. And what I'll do is add a 3 up top too, and just add 1 to each one. We'll see what happens. Right now, the table lead is blue. Blue is making a very wise play, which is the slow play for South America. Do we have a card cash in? We do. We have a 10 cash in. That's beautiful. Is white the kind of player that just can't handle somebody else having a territory? No. White's not doing bad. They're making a slow play. Slow progressive play. Oh, that's a little too fast, but that's okay. They're making a slightly slow progressive play for North America. And that's good because we're homies now. You didn't break my territory. As long as white doesn't mess with me, I'm not messing with white. Poor red and yellow are in the battle to take Australia. and literally just dying for it. They're dying to get Australia. Yellow is in a tough position because they did the Australia, no win. I think maybe they hit that 3 again. No, they hit the 4. They really want Australia, guys. It's sad too because you see this in almost every game, especially with newer players. And the weird thing is, the second one of them closes Australia, somebody else is going to sweep in there and take Australia. Does purple let me stand with my territory? Do they want to play cool with their neighbors, or are they going to go bad neighbor? They're going to go bad neighbor. Oh, they're not. They're not going bad neighbor yet. It would be a little early to go bad neighbor. Good play. So let's do 4 here. Let's make this 4. Let's make this 4. And then let's go ahead and try this old strategy. Should we take the cards from red? It's not a heavy cost. I'm going to take red's cards. This might scare the table, though. But I'm kind of okay with that. This was a risk. This might be my doom. That might be my death. Australia or die, guys. That move might have scared the crap out of the rest of the table. They might come at me now. Kind of can't blame them. Sweet, we have another 10 cash in. So if we survive that move, problem is if purple can cash in for that 10, I'm in real dire straits. And understandably so, right? That's a lot of the table I had to hit just to get red, but those cards were there to be gobbled. Let's see how bad that bites me. Does white now hit me? Because they're like, that's a little much, bud. Maybe not. White's doing the South America strategy. That's interesting. Yellow's contender for Australia has disappeared. I just gave them Australia. Good job. Your problem with red is over. You get Australia. I hope it's worth it. Take Australia, dude. What are you doing? What? Oh, you didn't have a big card cash in. That's tough. I think I let yellow keep Australia. I have a good card cash in coming in. So if yellow can't, if all they got was 6 cards there, I can literally eat yellow next turn from Australia, which might be funny, but I don't see a big benefit to it. So I leave yellow. What I'm concerned about is purple, because purple justifiably might be like, dude, you've gone a little far. I don't know what yellow's doing, though. Like, you probably want to fortify Australia at this point, dude. Keeping your 6 out there, I don't know what you gain from that. That move, I don't know what you gain from that either. You don't want to deplete your resources much more at all. You want to move that 4 to your 8. Oh, bad move, bad move. Is yellow going to break me just for the heck of it? This is some of the worst playing I've ever seen. Oh, yellow, what are you doing? Oh my gosh, you didn't even fortify your territory. Oh, that's bad. You just opened yourself up for an attack from purple. Maybe purple takes advantage of it. Purple, do you fortify your 5 and just break yellow? That would be hilarious. I think purple hits me, but that would be hilarious if purple puts that into their cash in and breaks yellow. Because why wouldn't you? Yep. Do it. Take them out. Take them out. They kind of deserve it for the bad play. Come on. Oh, you could go all the way. Okay. You're going to let them exist. If you let them exist, I'll let them exist. I'm cool with that. I got my extra card trade in. That's good. I'm going to up to like 6 each. And then I'm going to go ahead and go ahead and move my 15 stack here to here. So right now I am the table lead. It is a matter of time before somebody gets bored and breaks my little territory. If anyone does it, it's probably going to be purple. Keeping an eye out for when I can pounce again. White has the ability to completely take Europe right now, and rather safely. The only thing they have to contend with is purple. Does purple break white? And now they also have they're playing peaceful with blue, which is an interesting thing. So that shows that white has ambitions to hit Asia, possibly me. This might be another game where I just get suicided again. Oh man, yellow is not a good player. I don't mean this in a negative. It's just it's so easy to break through yellow now. I'm counting down the time. I think if purple's a smart player, they're gonna break yellow. I don't like that I'm being card blocked here. That kind of sucks. But if purple's a good player, they're gonna like. I'll let you. I'm not gonna hit you, purple, if you take advantage of that and break yellow. Maybe they break me instead, though. But if I'm purple, I'm gonna like send that 14 into that 7. I'm gonna send that 11 into that 8. I'm gonna clean out yellow. You kind of have to. They're just playing so bad. But hey, that's cool. That's a neighborly move. You're going to share cards with me. That's cool. I appreciate that. I am definitely going to continue to up my little levels because I want it to hurt somebody to break me. Although they are more than able to break me, and that's fine. So I am still the table lead. White is gonna catch up pretty quick. I'm kind of surprised that blue is not gonna up their exterior troops. So that's a little strange. But I got to give white credit to do the South America play. And also, white now has 33 troops. So white is very quickly going to catch up. I have another 10 cash in, so the cards have been in my favor. I'm really curious to see when somebody breaks yellow because they've been playing such a bad game. Like, I don't mean to knock yellow, but they're not even fortifying their main territory. It's interesting. I'm not sure what exactly their objective is. Are they not even going to take a card? You kind of have to take a card, yellow. That is a strange move, yellow. Smart to fortify your territory finally, though. I'm really counting down, though, till like purple could break me, but their best move right now is to take out yellow. They're in perfect position to do so. Yeah, get in there. Stay right there, too. Just block yellow. I love it. Okay. I love this card cash-in, too. This is beautiful. So we're going to go to 10s on everything. That might preempt like an attack from my neighbors, but I'm kind of okay with that. Oh, I didn't go to 10s. Bad play on my part. I think purple sees that and they might be like, I gotta up my. They might hit that 7. That the whole idea, the whole strategy of like kind of upping my borders one at a time is to kind of add more pressure so that people don't feel comfortable breaking my borders. That is a big upgrade for white. White's in a solid position. So if you look at where white is, if you play friendly with your neighbors, so the question is, does white break my big stack? That wouldn't really make a lot of sense. Yellow is going to be out of this game very soon. Yellow just got 20, though? I'm trying to see, are these like progressive cards or something? That was a strange bonus there. Benji hates homework. That's what you're overhearing if you're hearing him. Understandably. Not sure what yellow's doing. Yellow, you got to bring that 15 to your 12. Otherwise, your territory's broken next turn. Not to your 7. Dumb move. This might be the one where purple breaks me. But I think purple's kind of in contention with yellow now. And purple has every reason to kind of fortify. There's a very good chance that white may not be as seasoned as they look. And now that I look at it, I almost think like, is that the username of the guy who just suicided me the last game? Because if it is, I think that's what happens here. Yeah, that's smart. Just card collect. Up your 24. So guys, I won't be surprised if that 49 just slams into my main territory. Because I actually just saw that name. I kind of wish I had seen it before, but I think that's the same kind of douchebag that did this the last game. Maybe I'm just being paranoid. If anybody has the ability to look back on my past streams, I'm pretty sure that's the guy who just without reason just kind of slammed his stack into me. Let's see when it's white's turn. That would lose us both the game, but This is an interesting match. I'm not sure what yellow's play is. Schnoozer. These are funny names. Schnoozer and Hartwell. Yellow's taking a while to kind of process and figure out what they're doing. I'm kind of surprised yellow fended off getting broken real quick. I'm not sure the play yellow's doing. They don't have a lot of chance of holding Asia. But it seems like they're making a play for Asia, maybe? I'll give them credit for kind of trying to expand, but you got a 56 stack right above you. Purple's in a rough position where they might have to break me in a second. It looks like they're prepping to break my territory. Maybe not. Let's see how this game goes. Blue is going to get left in the dust if they don't start accruing cards. Like, it's an interesting strategy to play a totally passive game like that, but you have 47 troops. It's kind of like one of those, it's possibly only a matter of time. White is accruing a lot of power in that corner. That's a little disturbing. So we're kind of in this position of mutually assured destruction with white, where if we break their territory, they're going to be forced to retaliate and bring their 66 to bear. Now that's action that like purple and yellow would want to see, is like me and white like going at each other, because that's conflict that benefits them. I've lucked out again and gotten another 10 stack, which will allow me to retaliate if purple ever gets the idea to hit me. I am definitely table lead. My biggest threat right now is white. It's hard to know what everybody's best play is. Everybody's pretty locked in, so it's kind of like who's going to break it and cause the powder keg. I knew it. Purple's going to break me. I will retaliate. I kind of have to retaliate. So we'll go ahead and take them out of the game. I think we can do that. They have 4 cards, so that's good for me. Oh, crap. I can't take them out of the game. Why did I do that? I just fed those cards to a different player. I thought I could take them out of the game. So now what we'll do is just start being a little more proactive and start eating everyone. Or we'll just kind of refortify, move here. So I might get taken out of the game now. But I thought it was important to kind of send a message to purple. You don't break my territory. I might have gone a little over the top there. I think yellow's going to take Africa. Okay, the powder kegs are starting. White can definitely take me out of existence, which they might do here after taking purple. I shouldn't have handed that to... A white's not going to take out purple? Come on. You should hit that 8 stack. Yeah, you have to hit that 8 stack, and then you have to eat me next. That was misplay on my part. I mean, you don't have to eat me if you don't want to. But you could definitely take me out of existence and then sweep the rest of this game. That was a big hand in to... Oh! Okay. You want it to go slower. Does yellow make the move and take me out of existence? Or just take Africa? If I'm yellow, I just take Africa. Or break Africa. Or break both my continents. Maybe yellow wants to keep the peace. Maybe they saw how I treated purple and they don't want to be purple. I wanted to send a message to purple. You can't do that move. Mm-hmm. Awesome. We have dinner kind of coming. That's exciting. I can be easily broken at this point. I'm 38, so I'm like not in first position. I have no idea why yellow is taking so long to make their decision. But I'm glad purple's out of the game. What a douchebag. Yeah, yellow, you can take me out of existence in all likelihood. Do you hit my 11 stack? You have to. But like, why did you take 10 years to make that decision? That's the part that kind of baffles me a little bit there. Like, what is white? Like, what are you doing? Take the territory, man. Get in there. Take the territory. You're taking way too long. Yeah, yellow's not a good player. I made a mistake. That sucks. I should have seen purple's territory there earlier. I didn't. So yellow just unwittingly kind of gave the game to white by not taking me out entirely, but that's okay. Maybe like me, they didn't see the potential. I am definitely dead on the next turn for that mistake. I got too excited about being able to take out purple that I just forgot about that little 8 stack up in Asia. That was like a very basic mistake. So now I am target number 1 at the table. And I'm not going to luck out with my cards. It's too bad. If I had been able to eat the 4 cards from purple, I would have been okay. But now I'm going to actually go down from expert. Kind of a shame. And white's doing a real slow play for just... Now white's just like, I'm taking Africa. Nicely done. I appreciate that. Yeah, white is going to win this game. No question. They don't have great defenses in their own territory, though. But I don't have a good card turn in, so... And I'm at like 18 troops, so I'm out of this game pretty soon. But yeah, white is going to win this game. There's just no way. The only option is for blue to like miss a turn so they can fortify. Yeah, yellow can try to make up for it. White's going to win this game. I unfortunately kind of handed the game to white. It's almost physically impossible for white to lose this game at this point. Just because yellow was kind of decided to kind of eat my territory, I think what I'll do is kind of go in here, and then I'll just kind of do this. Just because if I'm going to go out, it's still fun to mess with somebody. I really should have read this. I don't know if you guys noticed, but it's like I definitely should have read the tea leaves a little better there. I have a good hefty 3 cards, though, that somebody's going to want to eat next turn. Maybe they want to let me accrue 4 cards. But this is white's game. Well, it was white's game. Yeah, okay, that was the right move. So the next move is going to be white just clearing the board. And if they play it right, they'll own the whole thing. They should probably start and just ignore Australia, just take everything else. Close out, like basically just kind of work down, up, take Africa, take Europe, collect the cards, and then do blue last. So the only hope of anybody else winning here is that blue goes just crazy haywire on the next turn. Yellow is going to take blue's territory, maybe? But they need to read the tea leaves like, you're done, yellow. You just have to start attacking everything in sight. Everything. Everything. Yeah, again, that misplay where I should have just retaliated with 1 point on purple if I had seen that one little 8 stack they had in yeah, I don't know what yellow thinks they're doing. Game's over, yellow. It's okay, take as much territory as you can, but you should have just been eating everything in sight. I think maybe that's what I do. I don't want 72 coming for me, but it's going to. It'll probably close me out first because I have a lot of cards to eat. So I think what I'll do instead is I'm just going to close off England and just let him eat me for cards. If he's smart, though, he's going to close out Africa first. Blue might just come and gobble me up too. Blue might be smart to do that because I'm a stack of 4 cards that blue can eat, re-up, and just start polishing the rest of the... Actually, that would be a really good move. Blue should go eat me right now. Oh, that's not a good move. Oh, they're protecting their stack, I guess? Not good. Just go for it. You're not moving fast enough. You need to eat my stack. Or you're not going to. Thank you. Thank you, Blue. You just handed the game to white. What does white do? I'm a very small little lunch that white can eat. I don't have a good card re-up either. That's my dogs just kind of barking around. If white doesn't just gobble me up at this point or just actively start eating every card in sight of yellow, they're going to lose this game. White may not win. I think yellow breaks my territory first, because that's the kind of player they are. No question. That's our food, by the way. Actually, I have no idea what white is doing. I guess they're trying to like end game strategy it or something. Or not white, yellow. Yeah, I don't understand that move, yellow. Okay. I think right now what we do is
Let's have dinner and then my break.
let's line it up for blue.
Oh, so I can use that while you're having it. Give me a casual, okay? Yeah. So Benji, I'm gonna use the bathroom and then I'll get your dinner ready, okay? Just relax there.
Now, if blue doesn't just totally go nuts and just start eating everything in sight, again, this is a weird game. I mean, if I'm blue, at this point, I'm launching out, taking everything. Does white suicide blue? That'd be fun. Oh my gosh, they did. We're still in the game, guys. Okay, it's time to go nuts. They got 10 troops, though, so this might be yellow's game at this point. Yellow taking so long to make a move is awfully strange. Good move. Very good move. I think yellow might win this game. Maybe not. Maybe they'll just line it up so I can win. Guys, this is really fascinating. Cool. Free me up. Yeah. All right. Okay. Okay, they're blocking my way to close this out. Huh. Well, my best shot is still going to be to eat all those cards and then come around and kind of kill. Oh, I don't think I can get all those cards. That's kind of a shame. Yeah, so this game is definitely over. Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, yellow wins the game because of blue and white just played terribly. I think yellow wins this game. Blue's going to get those white cards, though, so blue might win this game, too. Or blue might even it out to where I have a shot. Own it, blue. Do you have a cash in from that? You need to break that 8. You have to. It's that point in the game. Oh, you got to keep going. No, you lost the game. Yep, blue lost. Orange clears me out at this point, or maybe if I'm orange, actually, or yellow, sorry, I'm going to break that 7. This is an interesting game, guys. From that error I made, I shouldn't be around this long. Do I have a cash in? No. Yeah, good play. Good play. You should keep going. Keep going. Yellow, man, it's rough. I really wish I had played that better because these are not great players. Not doing a good end game strategy. So let's get let's have a little more fun and make it harder for me to be killed. So I think what we'll do is we'll just kind of I don't want to line things up too evenly. Oh man, I still don't have a card turn in. This is a fascinating game, you guys. I misplayed so bad with that attack on purple though. You guys, blue might get this game. I don't think they do, but they might. Is yellow going to hit me? Because right now you need to hit blue. Oh, dumb move. Oh, and you leave. Okay, good. Okay, that wasn't too dumb. Take him. It sucks that I have no card cash in, so I'm probably dead on my next turn. But I'll still make life really hard for yellow. You need to just keep going, yellow. Keep going. It's so funny when people don't know how to do endgame. Like, just move. Just eat every card in sight, man. I just wish I had a cash in. If I had a cash in, if I had lucked out and had a cash in, blue has a cash in. So blue still has a really good shot to win this game. Let's make life hell for yellow as much as we can. Just out of respect for the game, I feel like blue should win this game. And then I think after this, I'm going to break and have dinner. And then we'll watch Jim Lujan's live stream at 6. And I will work on coloring my pages. I'll probably live stream again today, too. Cool. Blue. Go blue. Go blue. Go blue. Gobble them up. Gobble them up. Gobble up yellow. Yes. It's giving me more of a shot. I'm pretty much dead on my next turn though. I think that yellow eats. Yellow has to. They might be capable. We'll see. I think they can eat me for my 5 cards, cash in, close the game out. But do they do that? I don't know if they can now. Oh, you guys, I am so thankful for bad players. This is good. This is actually evening out more. I only have 9 cards though, so yellow kind of statistically has to win this. Okay. You're only going to break their territory? Oh, I love it. Keep there, yellow. Keep there. Don't keep going. Okay, you guys. I can cash in my cards this next turn. I have a decent cash in too. I still exist on this map. Yellow's not playing a solid end game. We still have a chance, guys. So my goal is to stay in this middle territory, keeping the conflict between blue and yellow as much as possible. What I am going to do is I'm going to take, let's see. Let's take, did that lead to a cash in? So yellow's at 33. I'm at 19. Blue is at 12. So if blue breaks yellow, oh, they didn't. Oh no, yellow's going to win this game. And they didn't get a card. Oh, blue's gone. I don't know though. Yellow hasn't been playing a solid end game, so I still have a potential chance here, which is crazy. And I have a good cash in, so hopefully by next turn I can kind of, who knows, maybe I can eke out a win here. What is yellow doing? Are they going to close their middle? That was kind of a bad play on yellow's part too. I'm encouraged by this, you guys. Yellow's not very experienced. I don't mean that in a negative. And I say that as somebody who literally has 13 cards and it's slowly being eaten by yellow. But they didn't make the right play, and that makes me so happy. Oh, keep going, keep going, keep going. Yes, yes, yes. I have a shot here, you guys. Not a big shot, but yellow's misplayed this a bit. It's not a huge shot. It's a very short shot, but I have a shot now because of yellow's misplaying. I wish they would just end their turn though if they're done.
My hand is freezing.
So glad yellow misplayed this. Okay. So here's what we need to do. We need to enjoy the fact that we can eat those cards. And now it's just all out. Oh, that was bad. I got a bad roll. That sucks. I'm going to free up their 9. So now the numbers are 34 to Yeah, this might end now. But I'm surprised we made it to second. Yellow's got 11 troops, but I have another good cash in. So depending on how well they know the end game. They're also taking an incredibly long amount of time to play. Here's a trailer. I'll be right back. Okay, trailer's done. They're making a really weird end game play. I mean, they should close this out. The fact that it's taking them so long to close out these continents, though, is giving me slight amounts of hope because they're going to run out of time. They still win this game, most likely, because they're at like 56 and I'm at 10. But the fact that they haven't closed out this game yet it's absolute insanity, and they're going to get stuck. Yep. So we still have a very small chance here. And our biggest chance is going to be to eat as much territory as possible. I think what I want to do is break through America. I want to break through here. I want to close out a good chunk of America so that hopefully I can take their continent bonus. And then I think I will close out by kind of hitting here, here. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're dead. It was a worthy shot. They don't have a card turn in though, but they have 14 troops. There's no way they don't close this game now. Come on, Yellow. You're not that good of a player. This is probably Yellow's one of their first wins. I can't blame them. Like, they could close this game this instant. They should close this game this instant. Well done, Yellow. I misplayed on purple. I should have eaten it all. But I'm kind of surprised. Like, I really, were this a better player, I think I would have been gone about 20 minutes ago. Just take them all. Just clear them out. All right, move your 4 and 5 up. Come on. Wait. Move your 7. Use your 7. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Game over. Wasn't as disastrous as I thought. Let's see who we were playing against. I think it's a lot of beginners. I should have not left Purple's 8 stack in Asia. Cool. 2 masters. Yellow, as I said, was completely new. Yellow was a beginner or a novice. So that's why Yellow was playing so weird. So that was probably Yellow's first win. Congrats to them. All made possible by my stupid misplay. But does not... Oh, I guess we're back to master? Sweet. Probably because there were a couple masters beaten in that game. So we retain our master status. Yes. Okay, guys. That'll do it. I will see you guys on the next stream. I'm probably going to eat, and then I will probably not be streaming till after Jim Luhan's stream, which is at 6 p.m. Pacific, and you guys should all check out. So I will be working on art, but I don't want to compete. I don't want to cross streams. So yeah, if you guys haven't yet, hit the bell, hit subscribe. That way you get notifications when I'm about to go live. I'm going to go eat some dinner. I hope you guys have a good Sunday evening, and I hope you enjoy Jim Lujan's stream. And I am really amazed that I came in second after that misplay. So that's kind of shocking. All right. Have a good night, guys. And I will see you on tonight's stream, or I'll see you in the chat for Jim Lujan's stream. And if we learned anything from this stream, it was let's get rid of daylight savings time. Okay. Bye.